Girl had only put in a single drop of eye drops, but the next second, everyone around her cast strange looks in her direction. Thinking there might be something dirty on her face, she quickly pulled out her phone to check. But then she noticed that even students in the back rows were staring at her with the same eerie gaze. The girl felt frightened and ran straight out of the classroom. Strangely enough, students in the hallway were also staring at her continuously. No matter where she went, everyone's eyes followed her. So she asked a classmate why they kept staring at her. But unexpectedly, the classmate said they weren't looking at her at all. The girl completely broke down at this point. Having no other option, she left school in anguish. Even more bizarre was that when she reached the street, she still attracted everyone's attention. Two girls were taking selfies, but their gaze was directed toward her instead. Terrified, the girl hurried home. She casually turned on the TV to watch, but horrifyingly, even the actors on TV were staring at her. Frightened, she quickly turned off the television. The next day at school, she bumped into a boy and the eye drops accidentally fell out of her bag. The boy kindly helped her pick them up, but the girl was now terrified of people's gazes. After taking back the eye drops, she left immediately. But then she suddenly remembered that when the boy picked up the eye drops, his eyes weren't looking at her body, so she hurriedly chased after him. In her rush, she actually followed him into the men's restroom, which was extremely embarrassing. The boy then pulled out the same eye drops as hers, and explained to the girl that these were special eye drops that attracted people's attention. Just one drop would make everyone's gaze focus on you, but they had no effect on people who had already used them. He had also used these eye drops, which was why he could look away. The boy also said the eye drops only lasted for 3 hours, and the feeling of being watched was actually just an illusion. In reality, people weren't staring at her at all. They were simply looking in the direction they would normally look. But after using the eye drops, it made you mistakenly believe that everyone was watching you. Once the effect wore off, this delusion would naturally disappear. The girl found it strange why anyone would invent such a thing. He explained that many people received no attention since childhood and felt extremely lonely inside. But after using these eye drops, they could become the center of people's attention. Even though it wasn't real and was all just their own delusion, they would still immerse themselves in it and feel happiness. He also told the girl that his dream was to become a singer, but he had never gained much fame. So before every concert, he would put in a drop of these eye drops. The audience would all look at him, and he felt incredibly happy. Actually, the girl desperately wanted her mother's attention. When she was little, everyone only paid attention to her sweet-looking older sister, while she was often neglected by her mother. She also wanted to become her mother's pride and really wanted to prove herself. So she called for her mother to turn around and performed on the horizontal bar in front of her. Her mother was pleased to see her growth now, but unexpectedly, at that moment, her sister accidentally fell from a height behind them. Everyone was terrified, and her mother cried heartbrokenly. Just then, her mother looked at her daughter with a fierce glare as if saying, "If you hadn't made me turn around to watch you, your sister wouldn't have had this accident." Her sister ultimately died in the accident. From that day forward, her mother never looked at her directly again. Today, she still put in a drop of those eye drops. She wanted her mother's attention. She wanted to see her mother's face looking directly at her. Her mother finally looked at her once again. Although she knew clearly this was fake, just as the boy had said, being noticed by someone important really did bring happiness. She grew to love the feeling of being watched more and more. Even if it was fake, so what? As long as she felt happy, nothing else mattered anymore. One day, the anxious boy found the girl, begging her to give him the eye drops. His supply had long run out, but when he tried to buy more from the original online store, he discovered that the website had disappeared. Now there was nowhere to buy these eye drops. The boy became increasingly agitated and even knelt down. But now the girl couldn't live without these drops either. So naturally, she was unwilling to give them to him. Seeing that the girl refused to sell them to him, he suddenly tried to snatch them directly. Fortunately, 2 passing classmates discovered this, and the girl managed to escape. The boy told the girl, "When your eye drops run out, you'll feel the same as me." Would she really become like him someday? Today, after the 3-hour effect had worn off, when she went to get the eye drops, she discovered they had already broken. At that moment, she instantly broke down. Without the drops, she could no longer get her mother's attention and could no longer experience the warmth of home. She finally understood what the boy had meant. This feeling was incredibly painful. But when she turned to look at her mother, she was surprised to discover that even without the eye drops, her mother was looking at her with a worried expression. She cried sadly and kept apologizing to her mother for her childhood eagerness to show off. What she hadn't expected was that her mother had never blamed her. Her mother had always believed it was her own negligence that killed her sister. She was afraid that her daughter wouldn't forgive her. So all these years, she never dared to look at her directly. But recently, her daughter often came home and would even smile at her. Just like that, the mother and daughter's misunderstanding of over 10 years was finally resolved. It turned out that even without the eye drops, she could still get her mother's attention. How others look at you isn't really important. The only thing that matters is that you like your true self. Life had finally returned to normal. But as soon as she arrived at school, everyone once again cast their gazes in her direction. She slowly turned around to find the boy holding a knife. Unexpectedly, the boy had become a terrifying person because of the eye drops.